Oh, hey, team. It's Joshua Hathaway coming at you live. About to bring my brother Robert Schwenkler on. I am very excited to chat with you today about getting out of the friend zone and into the end zone. This is something that a lot of guys struggle with in cultivating really delicious, really multidimensional relationships with women. And Robert and I have spent a lot of time cracking the code on this thing and working with men to help them amplify and improve their dating life. And we'd like to share some of our thoughts on the whole existence, the whole idea of the friend zone. And what is the end zone? What is your end zone? Where are you headed? What do you want to be creating in your life around relationship? What's your goal? And I promise you that whatever you are wanting to create in relationship, there's somebody out there who wants the same thing. But so many guys these days, especially in the climate of the Me Too movement, have, hey, Robert, have
Hey,
uh, um, sort of defaulted to this mode of like becoming friends and becoming a really nice friend for the women who they're interested in, instead of really bringing their actual clear desires and intentions to the table, which is a very safe way to play the game. And um, and being as safe as it is, it's also often a totally unsuccessful and frustrating process for everyone. So I don't know if the fact that Robert's frozen on my screen means that I'm actually frozen right now too. The bandwidth in my new home is not optimal, but I will just keep talking and hope that whatever we do create here is going to end up being broadcast. And feel really grateful for it. Um, and I'm happily nesting into this space with my beloved Lily Love. And okay, cool. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Mary. So, gosh, out of the friend zone, we have to talk about this thing called the friend zone, first of all, and understand what we're fucking talking about when we talk about the friend zone, right? And I don't know if any of you who are watching have had this experience of meeting somebody that you're really interested in, meeting somebody that you really want to connect with, and then finding yourself sort of drifting into this space where they don't really want to have any kind of romantic connection with you. Or maybe it started romantic, maybe you went on a date and then all of a sudden they're really clear that they don't really want to be romantic with you, or they're not responding to any subtle romantic advances, and things aren't moving in the direction you want. And so this has been coined the friend zone. You've been put in the friend zone. You're somebody who, coming from a guy's perspective, you're somebody who she wants to be friends with, but not want to be lovers with or romantic with, right? And there's a lot of things that can contribute to this. There's a lot of things that can be factors in ending up in the friend zone, right? But what we have found is that one of the main factors in ending up in the friend zone is the fact that you're not owning your desires. You're not actually showing up and claiming what you really want. And in the absence of that, it's really easy to end up in this ambiguous relationship where nobody really knows exactly what's going on or who wants what. And so the thing about having what you want in this world, and it doesn't matter if it's a romantic relationship or an amazing job or something else, is that if you're not willing to claim what you want and ask for what you want without demanding it in any way, but really owning it and claiming it, and like owning that desire, then it's unlikely that the universe is going to be able to give that to you. part of Part of having a space for it is being able to risk not getting it in the act of going for it. So some of the things that we want to set up here on the call. Robert, thanks for joining us. Looks like you're in a bougie
yeah.
changing room at Forever 21. Are you doing some romper shopping at Forever 21,
I'm
brother?
taking a call from the Forever 21. You know, my style is just it's just like that going to lay
Yeah.
no matter where I'm at. So yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's where
Yeah.
Robert goes to pick up
So
women.
weird.
He
Uh,
goes to Forever 21
yeah.
to talk to ladies, right? I mean, what better place to go?
Do what works, right? Find what works and keep doing it. Isn't that the motto?
Yeah.
And some weird tech glitches getting on, but it seems like it's working good now. Yeah. And I want to dive a little bit deeper into this piece. I would love to lay it. Well, first, I want to speak a little bit to what's going on for these guys, because I've certainly been in this place for many long periods of time with many women in my life of wanting a deeper connection, wanting a sexual connection with a woman, and just like not being able to create it, not knowing how to create it, and being so in it in the moment that I don't even know really what's going on inside of me. I'm not fully present at what's inside of me. There's like a murkiness to this when I reflect back on it that I wasn't even able to be aware of at the time. I was just so in it. And it's painful. It's a difficult place to be because there's a attraction and a desire that I have for this person, and I don't know what to do with it. And it just ends up simmering, oftentimes for long amounts of time, and it's kind of a painful experience. It certainly has been for me. And talking to other guys who experience this, they reflect peace, frustrated at best, painful, and lonely at worst.
Yeah.
I just want to kind of share some. I'm curious, how does that land for you? Are there other experience of being friend zoned that you want to speak to?
Yeah, I appreciated everything I heard that you said, and there's also a lot that I'm missing. It sort of freezes and then catches up and freezes a little bit. I'm not sure if that's happening on the audience's end as well, or if that's just my bandwidth. But yeah, I think that it is a really painful dynamic. It's really hard. It's really heart wrenching, and a lot of people, a lot of guys, kind of end up here again and again. I talked to so many guys who just end up in that scenario again and again, where they're genuinely wanting to connect with a woman. They bring their sort of sensitivity and their capacity to listen and all of these wonderful qualities that are really essential for a healthy relationship. But then they don't. They're unable to um, initiate or uh,
Bring the
I
ball
don't
into
want to
the
say
end zone.
they are unable to, in whatever way, yeah, in whatever way, the relationship doesn't congeal into something that is like romantic and juicy and sexy, right? Um, and
Yeah.
essentially position yourself as like one of the gals, you know, this like sensitive person who can listen and be there for somebody, and it's again, I don't want to diminish the value of that capacity. And I am certainly one of the things that a friend of mine a while back said is like an unfair advantage I have as the man that I am is that I'm such a fucking good listener. I am so present. I can be so present with somebody and really hear them. That's a huge advantage in the relationship world. But it's not enough. It's not
Yeah.
enough to get into the end zone, whatever your end zone is. If your end zone is, I want a like deeply committed monogamous relationship, cool. If your end zone is, I want, I want like friends with benefits, cool. Like whatever your end zone is, anywhere along the spectrum, I promise you there are people out there who are would love to collaborate with you on that shit, but you have to
Yeah.
claim it. You have to claim what your fucking end zone is and be clear about it and be willing to sort of lose the relationship or lose whatever it is that you don't actually want in order to initiate and have what you do actually want. And it
Yeah. And
doesn't
so I
mean that
want
like a relationship isn't valuable with a woman if you're not getting sex. Like that's the
to. Yeah.
whole like mind fuck of the friend zone. Like wow, awesome. You have a female friend. What a gift. What an amazing thing for both of you to have that level of intimacy. That's a good thing. But if you want more, you have to be able to claim it in a certain way without demanding it and without being needy about it. And that's the thing, is the friend zone. Guys are, it's a subtle manipulation to get a woman to sort of trust you and be dependent on you for certain things, and then expect her to deliver some sort of sexual favors or intimacy with you because of that transaction. That transactional shit is never going to fly.
Yeah, and I want to kind of separate the conversation a little bit and break it out into some chunks here because I think that that would be useful. I know it would have been for me 10 years ago. First is just the situation, the challenge of the situation. I want to let guys know that yeah, it sucks to be in the friend zone. And I experienced it in my life. We've talked to a lot of guys, supported a lot of guys, and the pain is real. Empathy, conversation, and we can make an analogy to the dating world. We're doing the good, the ability to empathize and bring our hearts to the conversation. And then there's a moment where something different is wanted. What I want to bring to the conversation in this moment is some honesty and a wake-up call, really, for any guy who's ready to step out of experiencing the friend zone in his relationships with women. There's a real wake-up call that absolutely needs to happen. And the way you were starting to speak to it just a moment ago, I want to really hit the essence of it, which is that your experience of being friend zoned is happening because you're being dishonest. That's basically what it comes down to. You are manipulating a situation with a woman to get close to her. I love the way that you have framed this in the past, Joshua. Maybe if I get close enough to her as friends, she'll want to fuck me. Maybe if I can just be such a good man and be such a good friend and be really empathetic and really caring, then maybe she'll want to fuck me. And there's actually a really devious manipulation that's happening under the surface there. That's gonna keep happening to you. You're gonna experience yourself as the victim to the friend zone. The friend zone. I keep putting quotes around it because really what's happening is you're fuck zoning this woman. You're saying you're manipulating the situation so that you can try to get a fuck out of her. And that's not what a safe man does. Women open up to, well, at least like the deep, intimate, connected, soulful sex happens because both people feel safe. A woman isn't going to open up in that way if she doesn't feel safe, and she's not going to feel safe if you aren't able to bring the fullness of your desire and be honest and be like, I'm super turned on by you and I don't know what to do with it right now, or whatever the flavor is. But if you are hiding your sexual desire because of shame that you've got living inside of you, because you're afraid that you're going to be creepy, or you're going to violate her boundaries by having attraction and expressing attraction, if you're when you're suppressing that stuff, you become the creepy guy. On some level, she doesn't trust you, and you become untrustworthy. And that's the real honest piece, is that being friend zoned is actually about you trying to manipulate the situation to get something that you want out of it without being honest with her that that's what you actually want.
Totally. And I just want to address some of these comments. Deirdre is saying, I've had guys get mean because they were frustrated being in the friend
Yeah,
zone. I had to cut them
right.
off, right? Like, so
Yeah.
you set up this expectation that you're going to get something out of it, but you're not honest about what you desire and what you want up front, right? And then
Well,
and
and the
then we
key word
punish
there is
people.
get, also, like, get something out of it, right?
Right.
You're just in it to get some sex from her, and
Right.
then you throw a tantrum when you don't get it.
Yeah, and Isaiah's so true, man. Sexiest thing to a woman is being rooted in ourself as a man, being honest about who we are. I just spent I just spent a good 25 minutes of a session with one of my clients recently who's entering back into online dating after, kind of being a serial monogamist and having some disasters there. And just to help him, we literally had to rehearse the line over and over again, like, I would ask him, like, what do you want in relationship as the girl on this date? And he would be like, he would freeze up, because what he really wants is, he's like, I've been in committed relationships my whole adult life, and I just want to play. I want to connect with a variety of women. I want to explore sexuality with people without feeling like I have to commit my heart and soul into anything. And like, it was so hard to get him to just say those words in a coaching session, right? Because we have this weird, like, we've been implanted, and guys, I want to say it's not your fault that we think this way. Like, there's not something wrong with you. You are operating under this weird cultural illusion that women think that you think that women need a certain thing in order to want to have sex with you, or connect with you intimately. And what they really need is just fucking honesty. It comes down, all of this, like getting into the end zone at the end of the day and at the beginning of the day and somewhere in the middle, comes down to fucking being honest about what you want at all times, and not being attached to getting it what you want, right? Just bringing your desire clearly without any sense of demand from them. But women are like a walking truth instrument. Like, women's bodies know when you're fucking being honest and when you're not, as long as they're being honest with themselves, because women can fool themselves just like everybody else. But it's really, really important to recognize that when you are being honest, when you're being clear, when you're being coherent and congruent with yourself in the relationship, you're building trust, and that is priceless in terms of getting to that whatever end zone you are aiming at
Yeah.
with a
And
woman.
I want to unpack the idea of expressing your desire without demand, because it can be a little abstract for some people. Um, I want to share a little bit of what comes to mind, and then I would love to hear you speak to it too, Joshua. The first thing that comes to mind for me is a story about a woman that I was seeing for a while. And I heard this story. She communicated to Joshua, and I heard about it through Joshua, and then her and I have chatted about it as well. But there was a moment the first day that we connected, and we're relaxing at a spa together, and we connected a little bit at the spa, and I felt some attraction toward her. And as we were exiting the spa together, I was just super straightforward. I said, hey, I would love to be physical with you. I said, I would love to make out with you. Do you want to have a makeout session tonight? It was pretty forward. And she said, let me think about it for a moment. And I was like, cool. And she thought about it, got back to me, and we had a really hot evening, and then some, definitely more to follow from that. Um, the thing that she said after the fact that really was just a really beautiful articulation of desire without demand is, she said, I knew that my no was already pre-approved by him. That meant that no matter what she says, if she says yes, I'm like, cool. If she says no, not only not only am I like not getting offended, but there's a way in which I celebrate her her choice and her honesty and her desire. Like when I'm at this place where she says no, I'm like, thank you for being honest. I appreciate it so much, because I don't want a relationship where you're lying to me. I don't want a relationship where I'm lying to you. I don't want a relationship built on lies. So thank you so much for helping me, for helping us co-create a relationship that's founded upon honesty.
Yeah.
Even if the relationship ends right then, I have had some exquisite moments with women where this piece that you're speaking about with the client, Joshua, I've had plenty of dates with women where I've laid it out on the table. I said, here's where I'm at. Here's what I want. What do you want? Where are you at? And then we both put it out on the table. And then based on that, we get to choose. And there have been moments where that honestly have been, a part of me is like, shit, I really wanted to go deeper with this woman. But really, there have been moments where it's felt really good. It's just like a deep level of connection and agreeing on really clean and clear terms to not keep seeing each other because it's not in alignment. And honestly, in moments, really blowing the minds of some of these women that I'm seeing, they're like, a guy has never been this honest with me. A guy has never. There's one time where I asked a woman if it felt like a fit to her, and she spent 2 minutes basically saying no. And it's just like the experience with Deidre, where she's like, guys will get butt hurt when they hear a no. Like, we don't make it safe oftentimes for women just to say no. So she spent 2 minutes basically saying no. And I was like, sounds like a no to me. And she was like, yeah, it is. And then she was like, no guy I've ever dated has just been, uh, able to just receive my no. It was very much a new level for her to have a man in front of her who really wanted her honesty, whatever that looked like, even if it meant that I don't get what I want, right?
Mm. Because at the end of the day, no matter where you think your end zone is, like what you want is congruence in honest relationships. What you want is intimacy, and no can be a most intimate experience, right? How can you in your whole operating system and frame of reference understand that a no is an authentic no is way better than an inauthentic yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that no is actually where intimacy starts. When we know where the boundary is, when you can actually learn to celebrate a no, then you are in a much better position to actually experience a yes, because you're
Mm-hmm.
safe. You're a safe person. It's about cultivating that sense of safety and trust that we all need in order to like endeavor into intimacy. And I want to say also that I've had experiences where uh, my being able to really celebrate somebody's no has allowed them to actually find a yes,
Mm-hmm.
like to be like in full respect, and in fact like give a lot of breathing room for a no creates especially in this time, in this Me Too era, when we're really trying to understand and and rebuild a lot of broken trust between men and women, right? That to be a man who can really honor and celebrate a woman's no and her boundaries is a building of trust. And women are learning how to trust their own no. And
And I
sometimes
want to
in the
qualify that real
process,
quick too, like be able to honor a woman's no without feeling like you need to hide your own sexuality.
right, right,
Yeah,
yeah, without feeling like you need to sort of preempt it in any way. And women are learning how to trust their own no, how to speak
yeah,
no, and own their boundaries. And
yeah,
God, it's so exquisite when we get to be allies in that process together. When we get to
yeah,
actually support each other, and on the foundation of trust that gets built there, then there's so much more possible in the relationship, because nobody can really feel turned on unless you have a kink there, which a lot of people do. But no woman can really feel turned on when she doesn't trust you. She can't contact her turn on when she feels like it's being demanded of her, and that's the other side of the whole friend zone coin.
yeah.
If you're bringing demand energy to a woman, if you have any level of expectation at all that she's going to um, want you, desire you, want to have sexual relations with you, or romance with you, what does anybody do when they're faced with a demand? You have two options. You can either capitulate and just collapse in the presence of a demand and do whatever they say, or you can rebel. You can defend yourself. And those are just two reflexive responses that we human beings who like to be free and autonomous have when any kind of demand energy is brought our way. So
And I
if
want to make
you're
it
in a
really clear, putting like being in the friend zone means that you're making a demand on some level of this woman.
right, you expected something else in a certain way.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when you bring that demand energy, and it can be subtle, and it can be in the form of neediness, or it can be in the form of like subtle expectation. But when you bring that energy, it's really hard for a woman to actually authentically connect with her desire, because now she's trafficking in the energy that she has to defend herself against. So check your own sort of sense of privilege, check your own sense of entitlement, and check any level of demand energy you have. Like, this person should, based on the calculation, they should want me because of X, Y, and Z. Like, be careful with that stuff and come
I want to
back to a
offer
state of
another frame.
neutral.
I want to offer another frame for that because I think that might be hard for some guys to pin down. I think a great place, a great question to ask is just, am I being totally honest with this person or am I not? And if the answer is no, then you're trafficking in demands on some level.
And do I think they owe me something for what I've invested in this relationship or
Yeah.
not? That's a core sense of where you can find demand energy. Have I been investing things looking for a return
Yep.
somewhere that's not coming?
Am I
Do I have
giving to get?
expectations that they're going to give me something because of what I've given them?
Yeah.
Like, you got to surface those kinds of transactional dynamics in your psyche. And I mean, hello, I was born into a capitalistic society too. I get it. Capitalism has trained our brains in very fundamentally sort of awful ways, and we're still learning and emerging out of that. But if we want to be cultivating authentic relationships, like mutually juicy ass relationships, if we want to be in the end zone and have that end zone want us in it, then we need to really be clear about where our obligations, where our sense of obligation lies.
Yeah. So I want to talk about what happens when we do that, when we are clear about where our obligations are, when we show up transparent, authentic, lay it out on the table, do it without demand, honor any yeses, honor any nos that come up, make space for it all. What is available there for any guy who's listening?
Man. Well, one of the things that's available is you enter into a really emergent space where you're co-creating something in a space of trust. And that's the core, that's the through line, right? Is that you're both actually bringing your whole self to the table, full transparency, full honesty, full desire, full respect for one another. It comes down to respecting this other human being and not objectifying this other human being. And when that happens, oh my God, it's so hot. It's so fucking hot. All of the exchanges that I have had with women, informed by this sense of awareness and this willingness to be vulnerable in my expression of my desire, um, have resulted in incredibly delicious encounters.
Yeah. And I'll speak for me. The experience that I've had has been uh, on the non-sexual level, just a lot of beautiful connections. Even the women who with whom we've decided to part ways, it has just felt really good. There's been a deep sense of heart connection, a really beautiful sense of completion between us, and the women with whom there is a mutual desire to deepen into sexual connection. There has been much more of that, uh, so much to the extent that in moments I've been like, I think I need to kind of put the cap right here. I don't know if I can handle more women in my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just really delicious sexual connection. Um, a lot of pleasure, a lot of joy, a lot of just feeling really relaxed and present and confident in my experience. This is the other thing, is that when we're hiding some part of our truth, it's hard to be relaxed. Thing that I hear from guys over and over again is, how do I show up and be confident with women? And this is absolutely a part of it. When we're not able to be honest, we're not able to be confident. So
Yeah.
I'm able to show up just confident, dropped in ownership of my sexuality. I can play, I can flirt, I can have fun, I can bring joy, I can bring delicious energy to the interaction, um, all without needing it to go anywhere, expecting it to go anywhere. So there's just this
Mm.
joy of play and mutual connection that does go
Yeah.
somewhere oftentimes, and it's really
Yeah.
good when it does, and it's really good when it doesn't.
And I just want to say a couple of things that came up in that, Robert. One of them is like, on balance, who wouldn't rather be turned on a little bit? And just being turned on just makes life more fun, more in my body, more delicious sensation running, makes the interaction just more fun and playful, as long as I'm able to have permission for that turn on, right? And I'm not expecting it to mean that, oh, because I'm turned on, now we have to fuck or something like
Yeah.
that, right? And the other piece is that, and this, there's some controversy around this, but most of the women in my world will agree that, like, a woman wants a man to lead in a certain way. There's a sense of leadership that a man needs to bring into a relationship with a woman. If you're trying to hide something, if you're ashamed of what you actually want, you're not leading. You're not leading congruently in that process. So holding the frame of, I'm here to be totally transparent and real and accept and celebrate you wherever you are, um, and to lead with your desire, is so fucking powerful. And again, it just builds trust. It builds a woman's trust. If you don't have the courage to express your desire, then how could you have the courage to actually take this woman to the places she really wants to be taken, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a prerequisite for any kind of authentic relationship.
Because what opens up in a sexual connection is profound. It's deep. There are deep levels of joy. There's deep levels of pain also that come up. And if you aren't showing up with a level of embodiment that shows yourself as trustworthy, that you can hold her and meet her where she's at, and not that there aren't going to be some mistakes along the way occasionally, or that you're not going to have your own stuff come up, but on a whole, you'll be able to show up and meet her there. You don't drop her in a vulnerable moment, or if you do, you come back, you make amends. There's just like a quality of trustworthiness that even through ins and outs that happen in the relationship, you're going to keep showing up. You're not going to drop her. You're not going to shut off to her.
Yeah.
She can trust your presence, basically.
Yeah. Well, friends, I am now really ready to use the bathroom, and I feel like this was a delightful talk.
Yeah.
And I'm
So let's
grateful for
speak.
all of you who tuned in and commented. And
Let's
Robert,
speak
yeah, please.
real quickly about ADS, and then call it quits from here.
And connect as well.
Yeah. So I'll share about Authentic Dating Secrets as a 11-week training that myself and Joshua have put together. Basically, what we do is we dive really deep into the principles that we're talking about in this video and more. We have created a training ground for men who want to show up more, embodying their sexual energy more, and having more results in their dating lives and in their sex lives, and doing it in a way where everybody wins, where everybody is truly celebrating the interactions and the connections. So if that's of interest to you, you can leave a comment, or you can go to authenticdatingsecrets.com.
Yeah.
And then why don't you speak about Connect a little bit, Joshua?
Yeah, and before I do, there's one last piece of this puzzle that occurred to me here, which is shame. Are you ashamed of what you want?
Yeah.
Do you feel shame about what you want? And if you're bringing shame to expressing what you want, then it's probably going to feel creepy to a woman, because she's creepy is just a sense of like the shame that she senses underneath it. You don't feel ashamed because she thinks you're creepy. She thinks you're creepy because you feel ashamed, right? And you're not owning that shame. So you got to do your work around shame. And that's one of the things that we do really deeply in ADS and on these Connect calls. So Connect, intimate conversations between men and women, is about bringing men and women together in a really safe virtual format to explore some of the shame, some of the resentment, some of the pain that we carry in relation to the opposite sex, some of the things that the unfinished business that we have. And it's also a space where we can explore desire, explore our own desire, create permission for ourselves to have desire, to express our desire, and to hear the desires of others in a way that just respects them as a being having desires, and not having to take that on. Most women have this experience of men expressing their desire is like an implicit demand, whether there is a demand there or not. And so how do we unhook from that sense of responsibility for somebody else's desire and just be able to celebrate, like, wow, cool, you really get turned on by poodles. That's amazing. Whatever it is. So Connect is happening next month on the 5th and 12th. We'll drop a link in the comments here. And if you're curious about it, go ahead and send us a message, or just make a comment, say yes, please, around Connect, and we'll get you lined up. It's a fucking amazing process, and we're so proud of what we've been doing. And Lily and Lily, my partner Lily Love, and Lila El Qadri, her business partner, are our collaborators in this journey, and it's just getting deeper and richer every time we do it.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Joshua, for the beautiful conversation.
Yeah, this was great. And thank you, Wi-Fi, for actually supporting us in this conversation. Take care, everybody. See you soon.